Feast of the Jinn, an Iftar invitation from the other world. Ramadan in our village was a sacred time, a time of prayer, fasting, and gathering with family. But there was one thing everyone knew, one rule never to be broken. Never wander outside the village at sunset. Never accept food from strangers you do not recognize. It was said that beyond the old ruins near the river, where the trees grew too thick and the air was always cold, the Jinn held their own feasts during Ramadan. Those who strayed too close would sometimes hear laughter, smell the aroma of freshly baked bread, and see lanterns glowing in the darkness. Some said it was a trick. Others whispered that if you were invited, you should never eat. I never believed in those stories. Until that night. I had stayed late at the mosque, helping the elders arrange food for Iftar. By the time I left, the streets were nearly empty, and a strange stillness hung in the air. As I walked past the edge of the village, a sweet, warm scent filled my nostrils: spiced meat, honeyed pastries, freshly baked bread. My stomach growled. I had broken my fast hours ago, but the smell was irresistible. And then, I saw them. A few meters ahead, where the old ruins stood, there was a gathering. People sat in a perfect circle on woven rugs, their faces dimly lit by flickering lanterns. The food before them looked exquisite, almost unreal. A man in white robes turned toward me. His eyes glowed slightly in the dark. "Brother, you must be hungry. Come, eat with us." My instinct screamed at me to run, but my body disobeyed. My feet carried me closer. The moment I sat down, a woman placed a silver plate in front of me. The food steamed invitingly, yet something about it felt off. The colors were too vivid, the texture too smooth. It smelled delicious, yet there was a hint of something unfamiliar beneath the spices. I reached for a piece of bread. Just as my fingers brushed it, a whisper filled my ears. "Don't eat." I froze. My eyes darted around. No one else seemed to hear it. The guests continued to eat, their movements eerily synchronized. Their chewing was too slow, too deliberate. I turned to the man beside me. His face was wrong. His smile stretched too wide, his teeth too sharp. His fingers were longer than they should be, his nails slightly curved. Suddenly, a wind blew through the ruins, snuffing out the lanterns. In the brief darkness, the whispers returned, hundreds of voices, hissing in my ear. "Leave now, before you belong to them." The lights flickered back. The guests were no longer eating. They were staring at me. Every single one of them. Their eyes, now black and endless, bore into my soul. I bolted. I ran faster than I ever had in my life, the whispers chasing me, the scent of the feast turning rotten in my nostrils. I didn't stop until I reached my village, panting, drenched in sweat. I turned back. The ruins were empty. No lanterns. No food. No people. Only darkness. That night, I lay awake, haunted by the voice that had saved me. The next day, the village imam noticed my distress. I told him everything. His face grew pale. "You were lucky," he whispered. "Had you taken even one bite, you would have never come back."